Greetings, listeners. I am your host this evening, Zach Barrett, and welcome to this Twisted Gear Studios production. You are about to listen to The Call, our Call of Cthulhu actual playcast, GM'd by Derek Snow. The previous report from our investigators. Having survived their investigation into Swill's Gullet, they returned to Boston. As they continue their work for the New England Center of Antiquities, the team decides to stay together on Althea's rather large estate. Emos and Agatha have, unfortunately, stumbled upon some of the estate's rather dark mysteries.
And as you're still on that landing now, something comes flying out from below.
Oh no!
Amos. As you hand your candle over.
No, I handed her the drink.
You hand her the drink and you have your candle and you're reaching back to pull out
my camera.
Your camera. You get hit in the face by a candle. It just, the waxy feel of it just smacking into your forehead.
What is it with these weird paranormal things throwing shit at my face?
Then it just falls down.
Is it the same size that it used to be?
Yes. Yes. Still, and it's the burnt wick.
As that startling thing happens, I have a flash on my camera. Pretty sure they have those. Yeah, they have those.
Mm-hmm. Those like big squarish bulbs.
I just blindly snap a photo forward. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm shooting as long as it's pointed down the alley, down the stairs. Does a flash ignite anything?
Okay. I need you both to roll sanity checks.
Oh my god. Like, just
idea
instinctively, if I had to grab the camera and
because it lights up the area, right?
Oh.
It lights up the area?
I would have hit the button.
Oh no! Oh shit. Oh no.
28. And that's roll under my current sanity. Yeah. 28 out of 77.
What did you roll?
Oh no.
Agatha?
It's Agatha, so you know.
I'm not wrong. 89 out of 62.
Has to be Agatha.
Why am I alone with you?
They said not to get loud, right? So, Amos.
Am I alone with you?
Amos.
No.
I would like you to lose one sanity.
What?
You lose a sanity on a success.
Holy shit. What has she got in the basement?
I need Agatha to roll me a d6. And that's how much sanity you're going to lose.
Oh, son of a
Don't roll a 5 or a 6.
Whoa.
That's a temporary mental break.
A 1.
Yep, you also only lose one sanity. So here's what happens.
Oh my god.
As you
Could've been
flash
so much worse.
and it all lights up, it doesn't all light up. That's the problem. So as you look down at the landing, as that quick flash, you notice there's a semblance of a dark shape of just darkness. It doesn't look humanoid or anything, but and it seems to be slightly moving. And not in any sort of human shape at all, but you'd figure the flash would light it up completely. But it doesn't.
As soon as that happens, I just run! And I just let the camera hang back on my side with the strap, and I pull out the gun and start heading up the stairs.
I'm going to instinctively take the 2 glasses of whiskey and chuck it at the thing that's at the bottom of the stairs, because I want...
Well, now, it's not lit up now. That was just that quick flash. So you're just going to throw it down.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just throwing... Yeah, whatever. The direction it was in, basically.
And then I'm going to leave with my candle, head back up the stairs we came with the gun being pulled out, pointing down the stairs.
And I'm running with you.
Okay, so you start heading up. You throw your glasses and head up slightly behind him.
Oh, yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just slightly behind him. And you have your gun pointed down behind you?
Yeah, and we only went down the one flight and stopped at the one platform, right?
Correct, because she came back up.
We're straight
So
up
you're
towards
just
the door?
35, 40 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so as you throw your glasses down, you don't hear the sound of anything breaking. It's just thrown down into the darkness. And then, but you immediately start heading up, but you'd figure you would hear
Yeah, it would
the
be
glasses
something.
hitting and breaking on something, but they don't. As you both
Book it up the stairs?
book it up the stairs, deep down in the primal parts of yourselves, it feels like something's chasing you.
I'm not stopping.
I'm not either.
As you both run up, open up the door, which swings freely.
Once we hit the door,
Yeah.
I pull whatever is in the
Yeah.
latch out and then slam it behind Agatha when she's out the door.
Sure.
Yep.
Click. Locked. As you're just standing in the hallway, breathing heavy. No whiskey to drink now. Holding
What?
your candles.
What the heck, man?
In the mansion on the hill, yeah. Feeling a little bit lost in the house.
Nothing hit the door after we came up?
No. No sound whatsoever. The whole time you never really heard anything.
Let's
You just had a feeling.
let's go find Althea.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
I walk a little faster than normal walking down the hall.
Oh no,
back
and
to
I'm
where we
keeping
came.
pace because we're just like freaking out. I don't know about you.
Okay.
I'm freaking out.
Now I need you to both roll luck rolls again to see if you make it back somewhere. Because you're lost.
2.
22.
So you both succeeded on your luck roll.
Yep.
Yeah.
You wander for around an hour because you were lost,
Uh-huh.
and you make it back to like the main entranceway.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Do we run into anybody?
No, you guys have been gone a little while. Because it took you,
Yeah.
right?
Do you
But,
recall which room Althea sleeps in?
Oh, we do?
Oh,
Or
you do recall which room each of you are staying in, yeah. It's upstairs on the second level.
Would you
Oh,
be
and the same floor as her.
Yeah, you're
right?
all
Okay.
sort of on the same floor. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should get like everyone together because that was
Let's see
weird.
how Althea responds, and then we'll see about waking up Marion. If I don't know, maybe
You know
we should
what?
wake up both.
I'm gonna check her room anyway. Marion's room.
I'll go to
'cause-
Althea's.
Okay, all right,
All right,
perfect.
sweet. We
Yep.
break, and then we head up the stairs.
Okay, so as you both head up the stairs, you do run across Marion. As she
Marion!
was in the library for a while and that you were heading back to your room.
Well, holy hell, that was lucky.
So you just,
Marion,
it's just
Marion.
timing wise.
Glad I
Marion.
found you guys. I found out some very interesting things about this chapel
Oh, we found
We're
out a
headed
lot of
to-
interesting things about this house.
I'm sure it's a fascinating house. It's very large.
No.
I would go with a little less fascinating, a little bit more swillsgullity.
Of course it is.
Oh,
Anyways,
for the love of God.
you both have had quite a bit to drink tonight. But anyways,
Yeah, you have. You have.
the chapel is actually owned by Walter Corbett. It might not be the same Walter
What?
Corbett, but that can't be...
How many other Walter Corbett's could there possibly be?
Exactly. I also had...
Holy cow.
Are we gonna skip the fact that what just happened to us, Amos? Like seriously?
No, I'm trying to get over the whole Walter Corbett thing, but Althea's got a monster in the basement.
I'm getting Althea, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna start
same.
walking to her
Right.
room.
Mm-hmm.
Can I bang on her door?
Yes. Althea, you were just getting ready to get into bed.
It's so nice to have people in the house again.
Althea, please.
Are you
answer the door.
sure? I'm sure there's
Positive.
any number of wild creatures. This is a very large
Hey,
estate.
if you want to go take a look, we can take you there later.
No,
After
no.
midnight.
I think she
Do
needs
I want to
convincing.
open the door? Yeah, I'll open the door.
Okay, Althea opens up the door.
Hey!
Since when did you have a monster in the basement?
Oh dear.
You have no idea what they're referring to.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
You do smell the whiskey on Amos's breath, though.
Oh, right. Come in? I guess.
Well, actually, we were hoping that you would come on out, but yeah, sure, all right.
Come.
Is this necessary right now?
Yeah,
A
pretty
little
well. I'm
bit.
not sleeping in a house that has a monster hiding in the basement.
All right, let's say that again.
You got something swillsgullity in the basement.
Which basement?
Which?
What do you mean, which basement?
If the answer isn't immediately no, I'm already tempered.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Let's just
A building can have more than one basement?
I'm going to look past that for now. Because of course it does.
What?
What have you two been doing?
Exploring.
Exploring.
We went and looked around and we found a door that was locked. All right, I do apologize in advance. I unlocked the door.
What?
It's a compulsion. I will blame that one on the liquor, but
You
the
were
rest
a
you can
guest.
take away. You know what? If I hadn't found that there was a creepy monster, this wouldn't be a big deal. And we went down into a concrete stone hall and threw a candle at something that threw it back at me.
It hit him in the face.
Yeah, the last time someone threw something at my face, it was a giant raven head. Recall that?
Yes, that was when we were investigating a murder and a disappearance and a cult. What?
And now I'm looking to investigate what creepy stuff's in your basement.
How much have you had?
Not enough.
Which part of the house were you in?
You're not entirely sure.
A part of it.
A part of it.
You have a big house.
It's a big house. Have you been in this place before?
Yes, that's why I'm trying to understand where exactly you were, because quite frankly, I'm very familiar with these grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, can you take us to the one mysterious door that leads to the concrete basement?
No, because it doesn't exist. There
No,
is
no,
door here in this house that I have never been through.
Okay, first off, like, how? Okay, it's possible that you probably don't know where this is, but it happened to us. You have two witnesses.
Remember the talking
We
mat?
could not both possibly have the same hallucination drunk. No chance.
I mean, I wouldn't believe one of us, but both of us. I don't know.
Well, maybe no. It was dark. It's a very large estate. Are there animals on the property?
This wasn't an animal.
And you know what? At
couldn't
this
have
point,
been.
I'm willing to at least let them accept an animal if they're going to believe something. But no, it wasn't an animal.
I'm sure you saw something.
All right.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. All right, let's put it this way.
If something did happen, I still need to know where in the house it was. So we have to start there.
We got lost. Your place is huge.
Is there anything that you remember from a hallway or a room?
Anything distinct?
So they describe the area. For example, the rooms with the coverings, and the way they describe it, not your house. It doesn't have a recollection to you at all of the way that's laid out.
I don't remember this. Is it possible for me to have an idea or whatever to look at the book that I just found with my grandfather's name in it? It said there were sketches of the house on it.
Sure. You notice as Althea pulls out a leather-bound book and opens it up and starts looking through it. And
I mean, the other thing is that we got to go to my apartment tomorrow anyway. I took a picture of whatever it was.
idea roll.
Develop the photo tomorrow.
This dice hasn't been good to me so far. Let's change them up.
That's fair. Use the other Cthulhu dice.
Well, good to me is failing, sometimes good. Yes. 49 out of 70 this time.
Oh, okay. So as you just quickly glance through the book, you notice that it isn't really sketches of your house. It seems to be, very strangely, sketches of your house but in different configurations. So it seems to be all the same type of house, but all in different ways. All different configurations, some different rooms. The only things that are the same seem to be the entranceway, the barroom, ballroom, and anything else, different rooms, different setups, different layers. But there's also that weird language on the top of each sketch, but that you can't really pick through, that seems to be marking each of them separate in some way.
Anything you'd like to share with the class?
And as you're quickly going through, you do notice around 4 or 5 sketches in, maybe it's the fifth sketch in, you notice that it looks like there is a hallway on the southern end of the house that sort of resembles what they are describing. because it seems to be there's a stairway leading down to some kind of basement in like the 5th sketch. But it's not a sketch of your house. It's not a sketch of your house. As it is. Which is a little bit of a shock.
So, I'm willing to believe you, obviously. Both of you say you've seen the same thing, so that's
holy
fine.
shit.
Not the first strange thing to have happened in the house today. Though probably the strangest, if you're to be believed.
Today?
Ooh.
This book belongs to my grandfather.
It was his house, wasn't it?
At one point it would have been. I didn't know it existed until today. This evening, actually. It's too much of a coincidence. My father was not one to believe in coincidence. So, perhaps there's a different explanation. I'm gonna need time to figure it out, though. So far, none of it makes sense to me.
Well, at least she believes us.
That's bonus.
Care to show us anything that was the reason for your believing us? Or was it the fact that I convinced you to think about the imaginary rat?
You keep saying imaginary.
The talking
and
rat.
We're not having this debate again.
All right.
Anyway, Marion said that she found some information that I think is pertinent too. Can you share that with us, Marion? I mean, what else can we do tonight? I mean, I'm not going back there. Not tonight. Tomorrow we have a mission. We're going to go see the church. I want to know more about this church.
I'll put the information I've gathered together and share it over breakfast.
Fair. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed. And I start heading out and going.
Yeah, all your rooms are in close proximity to each other.
I sleep very closely with my gun.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Does everyone go to
closely.
bed? Yes?
Yeah, once everyone else is settled down, I'll go to bed too, though I don't know how much sleeping I'll actually do.
Yeah, same.
Everyone seems to have a good night's sleep.
Why do you say seems?
Except Agatha.
Oh no!
Yes!
Sounds about right.
When you wake up in the morning, you don't really feel like you've gotten a proper amount of sleep. I mean, we've all been there. We all understand what happens when tossing and turning, you wake up in the middle of the night, whatever.
That's not normal?
But the only thing you can remember as the dream is fading from your mind is the front setup of the mansion on the hill, with the road coming in, swooping around, and there's the maze off to the side.
Why do you have a maze?
And
Because I can.
okay. And you, looking through your eyes, you seem to see coming from the maze what appears to be individuals staggering toward the front of the house towards you where you're standing. What seems to be like spikes ran through their body. Something that seems very familiar.
Like a person?
Like what you experienced in Swill's Gullet.
Fun.
You wake up in a cold sweat. And it just seems to be preying on your mind more so.
I take back my previous statement. I am more likely to shoot Agatha than Althea.
Will you stop it?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as the dream is fading from your memory, a name sort of shoots through your mind, and the name is Glacky.
Oh no.
She's back!
Even though you wake up with a cold sweat, though, deep down you don't feel afraid.
Okay, so I wake up in a cold sweat, but I'm not afraid.
Yeah,
but I'm disturbed?
Yeah, maybe
Okay,
more a
alright.
little bit disturbed by it.
Alright.
So you all get ready and head down to the dining room. I'm assuming nobody's doing anything out of the ordinary, like, searching another part of the house and unlocking locked
Going
doors.
straight to the
or-
whiskey.
That's
because
not
of the
as
nightmare?
unusual as you would lead it to believe.
Yeah,
I don't
every
like
time I go to my
Cadbury.
friend's house, I find locked doors and just pick my way in. Yeah.
You too?
I don't like Cadbury. And I'm a PI. And Althea tried to kill me.
Are you done?
No.
Althea, the bar is currently closed.
God
It
dang
is
it.
morning time, and even people who are horribly, horribly, horribly wealthy.
I thought you were just
Actually,
going
they
to say
do
horrible.
drink probably in the
was
morning,
gonna say.
but not right now.
I'm going to put the papers together that I'd assembled yesterday and put them into my satchel and just basically get everything ready so that when I go down to breakfast, because I know that there was some discussion last night and people are probably going to want to continue talking, and I want to have all of my things ready.
So everyone's just going to meet up for breakfast in the dining room?
Yeah, when I go downstairs, I'm very, very upset that the bar is closed, but I don't complain.
Okay.
Althea's already there, paper up in front of her face. 2 perfect boiled eggs sitting in little cups, and an amazingly large cup of coffee.
Amazingly large.
Amazingly
Do you have any more of
large.
those amazingly large cups
Even
of coffee?
by Cthulhu terms, it is a large cup of coffee.
As Althea's already gone in and sat down and has her paper, and the 3 of you sort of meet up just outside the dining room. It is fairly large.
Oh my.
It's not just a
Not surprised
single
anymore.
family dining room. There's multiple tables.
Of course there is.
There's one major table against the windows, the picturesque windows up against the end. There's one fairly large table that she's sitting at, and Cadbury is just waiting inside the door. He looks a little bit frazzled. His hair is a little bit out of place. And as the
I look at him and I kind of lean over quietly to Agatha and I'm like, so maybe we did break into his room last night. I was,
Oh, shut up. Do I have a hangover?
just roll me a Constitution check.
Oh, I guess I should do that too, eh?
Which is, sorry. 43 out of 70.
Of all the times to roll a 1%, I rolled a 1%
Well,
on my
extreme success for the hangover. You're
That's upsetting.
Agatha, you're feeling fine. You know, a little bit dehydrated, but otherwise
Okay.
pretty much good. Amos, my friend, just perfect, top notch. If anything, the alcohol helped the sleep. Everything is perfect.
Got any more than
Yeah,
whiskeys?
everything is awesome. Don't start singing.
Aw.
Damn, he called me
So
out.
But Cadbury's just standing inside the door. And, well, good morning.
Good morning,
He seems
Cadbury.
more amiable. He doesn't have, normally he looks at you, all 3 of you, Mary and Amos and Agatha, with a little bit of disgust. Like, what are you doing here?
As I walk past him,
plebes.
as I walk past him, I pat him on the shoulder while holding a cup of coffee like he's a friend. Yeah, it's up morning, champ.
Yeah. He's like, yes, so, what would you like for breakfast? I mean, I can just bring out platters of eggs and bacon and sausages and toast.
Oh my.
And coffees and orange juice and grapefruit
Do you
juice.
need any
my
assistance
gosh.
with that? I'm more than happy to help.
Oh,
And he looks a little bit like shocked. No, ma'am. Me and the staff certainly have everything in hand at the moment. But I mean, if you want the big
Okay.
feast, we'll just start bringing it out.
I mean, I'm
no,
not gonna
I'm
say
in.
no.
I'm certain we don't need quite that much.
Are you going to join us?
No, ma'am.
Oh.
That would not be appropriate. He looks like just a little bit like, a little bit frazzled, just like, no, that would not be appropriate. It is nice for, and he puts his voice low, that Althea has some friends. Period.
Oh, well, we are certainly there for her. But no, I think you don't need to go to all that trouble. Just something small for each of us would be more than sufficient. You've already done so much.
Well, it's no problem at all if you would just go find your seat next to Althea, and I'll just start bringing out some food for everybody. And of course, whatever you don't eat, us servants will be freely, as you know. Nothing will go to waste here.
Thank you. And I just go in
Yeah, thank you.
uncomfortably, sit down
very-
near
He seems
to
a lot
Althea.
nicer.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
I think you should join us.
Sorry, ma'am. Once again, that wouldn't be appropriate.
Oh,
What would the rest of the staff think? Of course, and of course, we
I'm
couldn't
sure
sit the
they-
whole staff with Ms. Goodyear.
I look
Yeah.
around the room. I was like, I
And
think
you
it
could.
would fit. Yeah, I don't think it would be. a
I'll go
problem.
get the food post haste. And he just sort of saunters off to the side, sort of saunters. I don't know how to put it any other way.
Althea, I gotta ask, how does it feel sitting at a table that's not this table?
I can't understand it. Like, I'm in such awe sitting in this table, but this is the norm for you. Like, serious question.
It is a beautiful oak table, massive.
I haven't put my mug down. Like, I feel guilty putting this down in fear of scratching the wood.
Well finished, 12 to 14 feet long, 5 feet wide.
This table is probably easily worth more than my childhood home.
Probably worth more than your childhood in general.
I was gonna say.
Yes.
It's just my norm, I suppose. Yes.
I'm just gonna kind of scuttle with a big cup of coffee and just kind of sit down awkwardly because this place is just boggles my mind.
Yep.
All right, we'll get over it.
I'm gonna also sit down with a cup of coffee and just take out a sheaf of notes and just start jotting things down.
Well, do we want to talk about our plans for the day?
Could everyone make a spot hidden roll?
Sure.
I'm going to start this off. Everyone gets to make a spot hidden roll.
Amos got a 31 out of 43. I hate succeeding these right off the gate because Derek's mean.
I have 38 out of 64.
You have 60. Oh no.
That's why she's going crazy.
Althea has 100 as her first roll right now.
So does Marion.
Great. 2 double zeros.
This paper
on
is so
one
good.
roll.
There's been 2 double zeros, and then there was a 1 earlier.
I'm glad it's not really for something specifically important. Anyone who succeeded, of course, put a tick next to that skill.
Oh God.
Anyone who has failed horribly by rolling double zero for that, you don't really notice anything out of the ordinary at all, period.
These notes that I spent all last night reading are super fascinating still.
Completely
They're like,
oblivious to anything about your surroundings. As you all sit down, you also notice that next to Althea, who's at the head of the table, there's another table to the side, and laid across it seems to be around 7 or 8 newspapers from all over the country.
As I
Like you see in a hotel.
Yeah, as I'm conversing, I'd be kind of sifting through the papers and looking through, multitasking, if you will.
Agatha and Amos, as you're sitting down, and of course you're, because of what happened to you the previous night, you're just to seem a little bit more tuned in. Over in the corner of this dining room, there's a small little table, like a pew seat on it, like a little breakfast nook, and sort of sauntered down in it, in a bit of the dark of the room, is Skeet. And he's sitting down, and he seems to be eating a muffin. No plate or nothing, but just maybe a muffin he found. And he's just eating it, and he's just sort of like shrunk in, and he seems to have like slight burns and stuff from his still.
Pat.
Oh,
Agatha.
Ski. Hey. Why are you sitting in the corner, friend?
I'm part of the staff now, so I mean I'm just keeping myself a little bit separate. I don't know where my accent's going. I'm just sort of keeping to myself, just like it'd be inappropriate. Big words. Cadbury uses big words.
Come over and sit with us.
I don't use words I can't spell.
It's okay. Just
got a
come
fair
over.
point.
Come,
Yeah, it's got
let's get you some coffee.
So he sort of saunters over with his coveralls, with one of the tabs undone, and comes over and he sort of just sits down. He has you're not sure how old this muffin is, but it crunches. It's like hardtack.
Oh no.
And he seems to be breaking pieces off it and putting them in his mouth till the heat smooths it up, and he's just sort of crunching it up.
Oh,
when he gets you a muffin?
Yeah.
There's like a whole tray of muffins.
I'm gonna run over and grab some tea and come back and at least soak it in this first. Just yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you said he has burn marks?
He's not really bad. It's just that the previous evening he had a situation with this still.
Oh,
Where
I'm assuming
he came into
that Cadbury or another member of the staff would have provided him with some kind of.
It's not treated. You can see some unguent and stuff on it, but he seems to be a little bit shaken. But it's Skeet, so it's hard to tell.
I'm gonna take like some, I don't know, a cloth and dip it in whatever liquid is on the table and just start
Hot
cleaning them
tea.
up. Hot tea.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, just to try and clean them up. Oh my god, sweet, are you okay?
Yeah, he just sort of moves his head away. He's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. You know, I don't know what to tell you, boy. It's just this is the way she goes. I just feel a little bit awkward sitting at the big boy's table. I mean, big person's table. I mean, table.
No, don't feel awkward. You're your friend. You're a friend to us.
Althea folds her paper down and says, Skeet, stay where you are. I'm sure you'll feel a lot less awkward when the bacon comes out. And then I'll put the paper back up.
And just as she says that, a couple of servers come out, a man and a woman, mid-40s,
Holy cow, their dramatic timing is amazing.
with platters.
Oh, wow.
Each of them has this massive platter with one is full of fruits and some potatoes and stuff like that that they lay down, and the other one is eggs with bacon and sausage and just with and then one of them brings a little basket with toast and lays it down, and Skeet's just amazed.
Cadbury
So
did tell
am
them
I.
there's only 5 of us in here, right?
This could feed an army.
There's enough food to feed twice, 8 or 10 people. And then come out the pitchers of orange juice and grapefruit juice and stuff like that.
I'm immediately grabbing orange juice and pouring myself a
Yeah,
glass as well
yeah.
as Skeet.
Yeah.
Here, drink this, maybe you'll feel better.
What's... And Skeet sort of looks at it and he's like, "What's that?
No, drink it, boy. It's good for you.
Well, what is it?"
Oranges? It's crushed up to make juice.
Oranges.
It's vitamin C.
Okay.
You'll need it.
And he sort of reaches his hand out and takes a sip. And he's just like, "Ooh, sugar. Ooh." Then he just
I
chugs it
guess-
down and he starts pouring in more orange juice and
mean,
reaching over, grabbing bacon and sausage and toast. And it looks like Skeet himself is going to make up the difference in the food. Because he is just shoveling food in his mouth.
Well, at least has an appetite. I
Well,
can't
yeah.
really... And I'm just gonna, like, try and, like, from the calamity that Skeet is doing, I'm just gonna grab a piece of toast and put some, like, egg on it with bacon and start eating it. Like, I'm just watching the fascination, this man.
Oh, yeah. And he is just constantly just chewing and eating. And
So while that's going on, I'm checking through the newspapers. Is there any roll I gotta make to see if they find anything of interest?
you can just roll library use.
That one's cocked. That one's not. 9. Library use. Yeah, I got 9 out of 60.
Yeah, so it's just
The rolls are good.
just normal news. It doesn't seem to be anything really out of the ordinary.
I'll just take 1 or 2 of them with me, man. I'm sit at the table. All right, I got a favor / request to ask, and this isn't an expectation. It's just an inquiry with Althea. With all the rooms you got in the house, is it? I'm assuming we're gonna be working our investigation from the house. Is that a plan? Is this a temporary stay?
We can stay as long as we need to. And I don't see why we can't run it out of the house. I mean, we're in the city, so why not?
And please, again, don't take it the wrong way. It's not asking with the expectation of that being the answer. I'm asking because I've got a photo development lab over in my apartment studio in downtown Boston. Wouldn't mind being able to be near that if we're going to be doing an investigation. I assume some photography and studying would be necessary if we're working out of here. Wouldn't mind swinging by the old apartment, bringing the gear over, setting up shop in one of the unused rooms.
Sure, of course. Just double check with Cadbury to see if there's definitely not a room here that already has what you would need.
What?
Well, I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't use every room.
Well, if he starts taking me near doors that go down multi-layers of stone steps, I'm sure we'll be fine.
I believe I may need to give up being surprised by what's in this house.
Yep.
I think my mother took up photography for a little while, but she was very good at taking up hobbies and then dropping them again. So, you can just double check. Cadbury will know for certain. And if not, then yes, by all means, bring over whatever you want.
Speaking of today, do we have a plan for how we're going to visit the chapel? What are we I found some quite interesting information last night.
Oh, that's right. You did, didn't you? What did you find out?
Well, actually, quite a bit of information on this church. So I don't know if was this something you were recently looking into, Althea? There seemed to already be quite a bit of organized information in your library.
Not that I recall, no.
Well,
Most
regardless.
of the things that I've used from the library recently have been either for travel or autopsy and such for the police.
Well, I suppose it's just convenient then. So, one of the top things that stood out is I found the name of the former owner was a Reverend Michael Thomas. Now, you may have heard his name before. I know why it sounded slightly familiar to me, and that's because he was actually he was arrested and sentenced to 40 years for murder after the very church that we are going to visit was raided by the police, as they believed that members of the church were responsible for several missing children. However, he was reported to have escaped in 1917, and no one knows of his whereabouts since. So, in that same year, 1917, the chapel was purchased by a Walter Corbett.
Ooh.
Sorry, what?
Walter Corbett.
There's please, anyone hit me if I may be taking too much of a stretch here. That can't be the same Walter Corbett that owned the farmstead at Swill's Gullet, could it?
Well,
There's no way to know for certain, but
Oh, come
two
on.
Walter
Somebody else
Corbett's
with
in
the same name.
so
Okay.
close of a region?
yes.
How well stocked is your library here?
It's probably the most well-stocked in Boston.
All right. If you don't mind, can I take some of those notes of yours? Some of the
Sure,
articles?
I've made copies. I hand you a sheaf of handwritten notes.
Well, thank you very much. I wouldn't mind spending some time in the library and seeing if there's some kind of connection, or absolutely nothing at all.
I wasn't able to find out anything last night, but I was focusing on the church. You're welcome to take a look, but honestly, the odds of more than one Walter Corbett, I think we're looking at a very serious connection.
Can I ask one question just for clarification purposes? Was Michael Thomas arrested for the murder of the missing children or murder of somebody else?
I wasn't able to find out specifically who he was charged with the murder of.
He was charged.
Only
with
that he was arrested as part of a police raid due to these missing children. A separate member of the church was suspected of being responsible for these missing children, and then Michael Thomas himself was arrested and charged with murder. I haven't yet been able to find records of that court case or the rest. Just a few mentions in varying news articles, but.
So no word. He was arrested, so there is some record of his existence somewhere.
Yep.
No death record?
No, he escaped and is.
Oh, he escaped.
There's no record. There's no mention of him that I was able to find after 1917.
Did they say where he was incarcerated?
I have not found out yet.
Okay, I'll take a look into that. All right.
Well, this is a great morning.
I don't mind a nice slow day of research. My only, I'm gonna just say this outright as a bit of a concern. And I know that Agatha and I might seem a little bit of crazy with our story of last night. And I know that we did promise the center that we would go and scope out this church. However, if we're staying in this house, I'd like to know what weird things are in it.
What do you mean by what weird things?
Well, like what we saw last night.
Hallways you don't remember, a basement that shouldn't exist,
Well-
creepy things attacking us. I mean, we're making it up.
I wouldn't. Okay.
Maze is pretty creepy too.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, the maze is trending, but
Trent, why a maze?
I mean, I'm not going to outright say that I don't believe you, but I've lived in this house my entire life. I spent most of my time here by myself, I mean, I imagine if there's something here that would be interested in harming me or anyone else, it would have already happened. However, a lot of things have happened lately that don't make really sense. So, but if there was something here that I knew about that I thought would harm anyone, we would not be here, or at least you would not be here. That I give you my word on.
It seems though that there's a lot of secrets about this house.
It's a family with a very long history.
Are you?
Even I don't know all of it.
I did notice that you were very careful to specify that you knew about, though. How much about this house do you not know about?
Well, that's the next question. Are you able to tell us within an approximation, or can you find somewhere within an approximation the acreage of your estate, square footage of your home, maybe?
Well, if there isn't a copy here, I imagine there should be a copy of it somewhere in the city. I would hope. That would probably be of great value to me.
Okay, I'm just going to step in for a second and clarify something about for Althea in general. And the clarification is that this estate is massive. The house is also quite massive in this estate, but because for the majority of your life, it's just been you, and for a period of time, you and your father, most of the house has not been used because there's been no need to. So it's been closed off and just generally maintained by the staff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was inquiring about square footage, because I want to try and reference the amount of distance we traveled last night versus what actually on record exists on the house.
Well,
Where were you going?
Nowhere. Just
There's
we were
no
just
ground.
walking. It's fine.
Yeah,
But
so
why?
God, it's a big house. What did you
We
want
need
to
to
look
stretch
around?
our legs.
I would like Marion and Althea to both roll psychology checks, because it seems Agatha and Amos are getting a little bit touchy and sketchy about this.
Ooh. Yeah, 76. I do not pass that.
89 out of 10.
Yeah, all is right
that's
in
a
the world.
fail too.
High five.
So you just went wandering around and you found something. You
haven't wandered around yet? The place is huge.
I was looking into some critical information at the library, which you
Fair.
seem
That's fair.
very interested in doing so now.
Yep, you're right. My apologies.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to go and investigate this chapel. It is what we were. It's what we were asked. It's what we did promise. So we did promise Alistair and Simon that we would do, and we have a very good starting point of the information I was able to find in Althea's library. If we wish, we can stop at the Boston Library and see if there's any additional information.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind starting here, and then we'll check. I'll head there, and we'll divide and conquer a little bit of the day.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Yeah, let's get out of this house. Yeah, let's go.
We did promise Alistair and Simon, and
I would feel better with more information, though.
Yeah. Well, then why don't we start the day by heading out, and then maybe we'll end the night looking through your library, Althea.
that sounds fine with me. If there are things to know about my house that should be known, I would greatly like to know them. That seems like I use the word know a lot, but still, I would really like to know them.
Yeah, and it also pops in mind, Althea, that you've never seen any records or blueprints for this house. It just never came up. But then again, ask yourself how often in the house or the place you're living now
Yeah,
have you seen the
exactly.
blueprints.
I do want to make
It's
a point,
weird.
though. What we were asked to do with the chapel was to go and see if there was a tome that would be of interest. We're not necessarily looking into the entire history of this church.
That's very true, but from what happened in the last town that we were in,
Which we were looking into the entirety of the town to figure out what had happened to the previous investigators.
that's true.
In this case, we're only looking for a book.
Yeah, we were only looking for a farm the other time too, and where did that take us? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm still a little freaked about that incident.
I don't know.
Kind of
If
hold up my
you
hand, yeah.
really thought it was all that important to do research, maybe instead of wandering around with your whiskey last night, someone could have joined me in the library.
Whoa.
Agatha,
Whoa.
I'd like you to make a sanity check for me, please. Just Agatha.
What?
94.
Okay. There is no sanity loss tied to this.
Oh, okay.
But
Thank
your
God.
character does feel an intense urge, and you do utter it. The name that came to you in your sleep, you just blurt that out.
Oh, Glacky.
Sorry, what?
She's swearing
you do
at
not
us. I don't
remember
know.
just
this.
saying that.
Sorry?
I was just saying that that if it's so important to have done some research, then that's what I was doing. I'm not sure what you guys were doing, but I would just like to go and take a look at this church, see where we're going. And that could give us a starting point for the research we need to do.
How far away is this church from where we are? Maybe a map?
It's around 35 minute drive. It's still on the outskirts of town, but not on the outskirts of town where you're located. Pretty much. It's around a 35-minute drive.
If we're going, I'm making sure I got my Lee Enfield.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm just not taking chances.
Marion.
Yes?
What's the New England Center of Antiquities? What, I'm going on a library field day today. What kind of resources do they have for research, connections, things? They seem to deal in occult-like information.
Mhm.
Do they have like an occult library?
They do. I wouldn't call it extensive, but on the subjects it covers, it's probably the most extensive in the city.
And I'm going to jump in again just to give some more information
Yeah.
tied to the New England Center of Antiquities that Marion would know. It just hasn't been broached before.
Yep.
Is they do have a small occult area, although only Alistair Gethin or Simon Golding are generally in there. You've been in there to take notes with them before, but most of the time when they're looking for information, they both just sort of lock themselves in the office, and then within an hour, they come out with some information to give the agents to go somewhere.
It generally is not. It's not a public access library. Most of the information that they have access to is not. It's. They have it for a reason. It's not generally something that should be shared.
Oh,
Well,
but like
perhaps I'll just
Alistair
ask
would
him.
be a good wealth of information. I wouldn't mind seeing
Oh, for the
him
love
again.
of God.
Well, that's what they're sending us to the church for, is to get them more information. So if we go find this tome, they can keep it. Then they can keep it behind lock and key instead of for anyone to stumble across.
Here's a strange question. Why don't they go and find it?
Okay, so I don't mean to keep jumping in,
No,
but
that's good.
it's information that, because now asking a
Yep,
question about New England
access
Center of
information.
Antiquities, I couldn't fill in Marion about everything prior to this. They do go into the field. Nobody knows what they're doing in the field, but they're constantly going all over the world, bringing back different artifacts and such. It's maybe only been within the last 5 years that they've been getting teams of sort of agents together to take on the work that they don't have time for, is basically how it works. It's just that whatever jobs they're doing, nobody knows what it's about except them. They handle, even when you were the secretary before the agent, before you were promoted, they used to handle all of their travel setup, everything personally.
Well, naturally, they delegate. They do go on missions similar to this. They do go out investigating, but there's much more that needs to be discovered than they have time for.
That makes sense. Well, so how do we want to dive?
Well, it sounds like we're taking a day trip, but I'm gonna go get my Lee Enfield, and I'm gonna just like kind of shove away from the table and head off to go and grab my stuff.
So, do you leave first?
I leave first.
Before anyone else leaves, and I've seen that Agatha has left the room, All right. Who remembers the beach back in Swill's Gullet?
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Who remembers the laughing attack that Agatha had?
You all would remember this.
Yeah, she was following behind us, and
And I picked her up and ran away.
yeah, whatever was chasing
Anyone
us.
remember what she was screaming out?
It was a word that.
Almost like,
Well, you just heard it.
yeah.
So, what I would like to do at some point today, either myself or perhaps one of us, does that name ring any bells for the Center of Antiquities, for as far as you're aware?
Not as far as I know.
That might be a question to go and ask. But what Glaki is?
I thought it was just a nonsense word that.
Once you say it, what Glaki is, you can see Skeet, who's just got a mouthful of food, just go, and he sort of pushes himself up from the table.
Care to share, Skeet?
Well, if you're going on a day trip, I can go get the Packard. And he seems like to be Packard Twin 6 ready.
I grab his coveralls.
Ms. Goodyear.
Can I roll like a is it psychoanalysis or psychology to kind of sense where what is
It'll be a roll in the psychology. Psychology is more meant for like a sense motive.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit weird, but psychology is more of a sense motive.
Okay.
Whereas psychoanalysis is more treatment of people
Right.
with psychotic breaks.
Okay. So I guess I'll
Psychology.
just grab him and with that, is that a roll? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you can roll the
okay.
psychology just to see maybe if you can pin down why he's reacting the way he is.
Yeah, 77 out of 35. No.
No.
I just want to grab him by his coveralls. Skeets. Got anything you want to share?
Have you heard this word before?
I remember back in Swill's Gullet.
Oh God.
I remember back in Swill's Gullet that Ma and Pa Kent. They had a number of years ago people coming in talking about some kind of church to some kind of thing that they called Glaki, like a pagan thing. So I mean, I don't want to really get into that with all the trees and stuff yet.
So wait, sorry. It was a religion?
Like a cult, man.
Where was the church?
Oh, well, see, remember before when I talked about the church that blew up and all? Well, see, they used to. Oh, we're Christian, believe me, we were Christian. But like they sort of co-opted that church, and it was shortly after where the gas came in and it blew up. So we just, we just figured that was all solved then.
What did they do?
Well, I know they're off in the woods doing like pilgrimages or whatever. I know that's not the word that he would know. Like going off and doing field trips.
Going out to
Right.
convert people.
Yes, there's a lake, a wonderful lake there.
So how long did this cult of Glaki have a presence in Swill's Gullet? You seem pretty freshly aware.
Well, I mean, it was for a few years, I suppose. Yeah.
Did the cultists of Glaki have anything to do with what happened in Swill's Gullet as of late?
I don't know.
So, sorry, Ma and Pa Kent, was anyone else involved?
I mean, there's people in town. I just sort of kept to myself in the general story. I just sort of kept to myself.
That was good of you. I think that was a very good move.
So can I come back into the room?
Just
So come back into the room with all my stuff.
Was Walter Corbett a member of that group?
What group are you guys talking about?
As something back in Swill's
research.
Gullet that Skeet's telling us about.
Oh, okay. So I put my Leonfeld down and I sit down and I just look intently at everyone.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you who was really involved. It's just people used to come out of town, and
Yeah.
they used to really do Lord. They just used to do field trips and stuff like that, and they used to buy supplies and stuff like that, and they just used to go out and commune at Drumwick Pond
Commune.
at the lake, Drumwick
Trumwick?
Lake.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Drunwick. I wrote that down in my notes somewhere. It seemed very important.
Yeah, and I mean, nobody ever thought nothing bad happened. I mean,
I had it somewhere.
oh, I mean, sometimes people didn't come back. I guess that was it.
Skeet, do you remember the lake that... I mean, Skeet was with us when we
It was the same
rescued
lake.
him, right?
That's where
It's the
he
same
was.
lake.
He was just outside of the lake area when we were there. Yeah.
But Skeet, do you remember what happened at that lake when we were there?
No, ma'am. I don't know. No, I don't know. Nothing.
It's okay. It's
I don't
okay.
remember
Skeet,
nothing.
it's
I don't
okay.
remember nothing. And he's just very like,
Can I
psychoanalysis from Agatha, just very quickly.
That's actually 40 out of 51.
You can put a tick next to that. You do realize from your training that pushing him on this point right now will cause a mental break.
Oh, okay.
He is.
Sorry.
You realize that because that's her.
When he starts
career.
freaking out, I'm gonna let go of his coveralls. Be like, all right.
And he's just sort of shaking his head.
It's alright. If you need, let's go get the Packard, and we'll meet you up front, okay?
Okay, and he runs out of the room, just full sprint out of the room.
We should give him some space on the subject.
He seems to.
That just does feel like having a cult in town would be something you'd mention to people when they were investigating someone going missing.
No, it depends. What can I use? I don't know if it would be library skills, but my knowledge of cult would be.
Just-
they could threaten. Like, I don't know. Psychology.
The knowledge of
Yeah, the knowledge
cult?
of the cult. Yeah,
Of
I guess.
a cult?
I guess that
would be a cult. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a 22 out of 30.
Put a tick next to a cult.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Good use of that skill.
So it depends. Like if they were quite threatening, and depending what they were threatening, he probably was too terrified to even mention it.
I suppose that's a good point.
I'm not exactly sure what his involvement. He seems like an innocent to me.
Well, it sounds like he didn't really know what they were doing and chose to stay that way.
It's probably only the reason how he survived, to be honest. You know how they say ignorance is bliss?
He
Marion,
does seem pretty blissful. Yes.
did your research that you did say around what time it was that Walter Corbett bought that church?
No, only that he was the original owner. It doesn't say when he was built. The research that I had implied that he was the first to hold the deed to it. I assume that meant he built it, but I suppose that's no guarantee.
Would it? I don't know. Maybe this is jumping to conclusions, but it seems like big arrows are pointing that this Walter Corbett guy might have been the head of this cult. Or at least somewhat involved, don't you think?
Involved. Skeet suggested that it was a Ma and Pa Kent was the head of the cult, at least in Swill's Gullet. Walter Corbett, though, I would not be surprised to find out he was involved. But we don't know very much about this man.
Perhaps we could start with finding out see if we could find out who the children were who were taken. Or where they were taken from. I mean, possibly
Generally,
have been
children are
random,
kept
but-
out of the media.
Yeah, but there's got to be records. I mean, like, we've got a
Then it looks-
detective right with us, right?
Missing reports, maybe? Families looking for them?
It would seem like our first order of business is perhaps first stop, Boston Library.
I thought our first order of business was the church itself.
I'm pretty
We're not
sure
investigating
we're
We're not investigating into the church. We're searching for an old tome.
I'm with.
And Agatha, you in particular wanted to go back to speak to Simon and Alistair at the New England Center of Antiquities. Once we have
flirting can wait until we have the
information. I'm sure that's not all she's interested in.
We'll go to the
Agatha,
chapel
is
first.
I have no comment.
There you go. Who was it that was saying something earlier about? They brought up a good point that we've been going into a few haunted places as of late. Exactly. Thank you, Agatha. And that perhaps knowing a little bit about what this tome could be before grabbing it, and the I would have liked to know a little bit more about Squill's Gullet before going into Squill's Gullet. Let's put it that way. And if we can know a little bit more about... I'm not saying not go to the chapel today. Let's start with some investigation. Go in with some knowledge. And then...
How about
check out the chapel.
How about this thing? Tell me if I'm wrong. Marion, you seem very determined to go to this church.
The purpose of the New England Standard of Antiquities is to keep items that should not be in the public.
That's
safe.
very true. But it also doesn't seem very wise to walk in somewhere without having knowledge. Now, this is my suggestion. Why don't we divide and conquer? Marion and I can scope out where the church is and the area, not go inside, but scope out and see what's going on, and you guys can go and see the invasion, because I think she needs to be sated in some way.
I'm just going to say it. The last time we split up, you and I found a haunted basement in a house that doesn't have one.
Marion, I'll go to the chapel with you.
Oh my god.
It's my car.
I mean, fair enough. So I guess we're all going to the chapel?
I can drop you off at the library.
Oh,
I'm willing to compromise and say we end.
door.
I'm willing to
Alright.
compromise and say we go to the library in the morning and the chapel in the afternoon.
I'd be comfortable with that. If the three of you want to go to the chapel and leave me to the library, I think that might feel a little bit more comfortable.
You won't be lonely.
I'm not even going to grace it with comment.
Grab
When do
my
you see
Lee
apartment?
Enfield. All right, let's go. And then I'm up at like a shot out into. Yeah, basically.
She had
Wow.
a lot of coffee.
There's never enough coffee.
Heading out.
Okay, so everyone gathers their general belongings that
Yeah.
you usually carry with you, which are written conveniently on your character sheet.
Oh, look at that.
And you all head out
60
the front.
bucks.
My satchel.
And
$80 bucks.
Skeet
Get
is
fucked.
standing, and he seems to has this old dirty cloth in his hand. He seems to be buffing off parts of the Packard Twin 6 that's running out in front.
Oh,
Yeah,
well
And
done.
he just seems to be buffing quite frantically.
Keep fighting the good fight there, Skeet.
Hey, you seem to be fitting well in here, Skeet.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I'm doing everything I can, and it's all good, and everything's perfect.
And I'm just gonna
Excellent.
look at him, and I'm just gonna be like, "You make sure you get rest, okay, Skeet?"
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'll get as much sleep as possible.
Drink some more orange juice. You really liked that this morning.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oranges.
Mm-hmm.
How long have they been around for?
Oh my god.
If you speak to Cadbury, he might have something to help you sleep.
Oh, okay.
Do I run into Cadbury on the way out of the house?
You can if you want to.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind while grabbing my stuff if I see him.
Because he is always sort of around. Wherever you are, if you look down a hallway, he's at the end of the hallway, not really looking at you. But he's always around.
How do you happen to always be around? Anyway, Cadbury, can I
he's a
ask you?
butler.
Oh, fair
He
enough.
buttles.
He buttles and ers.
of buttling, being everywhere at once.
Did you guys have some form of photo production room here, or space that I could set up a photo production space?
Oh, I could look into it, sir. I could definitely look into it. I believe that there was a couple of rooms set aside. I know there was Althea's mother. Yes, she had a passing fancy with photography, and yeah, I'll take a look around, and I can let you know. I'm pretty sure that we had some. Now, of course, this is a number of years ago, so the equipment mightn't be
Right.
up to date, and it might need to be worked on, but I'm pretty sure there was room set aside for that. So.
All right. Well,
And he's calling you sir. It's just really, it's like sir.
Yeah, I'm a little taken aback by that. When we return tonight, I might be bringing a few more photo implements along with. So, yeah, if it's all right, I would like to use that space at least for a couple of days for some photography.
Yeah, yes. Whatever Althea's wishes are will definitely be followed. I was wondering, and he sort of looks around. It's just you and him right now, and
Yeah.
he just sort of looks back and forth. It's like, and also, Mr. Amos
Milton.
Milton. Yes, Mr. Milton. I would like to ask a favor. Well, you seem to be a strapping young man who seems to be knows how to take care of himself, and Ms. Goodyear seems to put herself in situations, this has been going on since she's been a child, where she gets in danger or gets hurt. And I would just like to implore upon you the need to protect her, to make sure nothing bad happens to her. I'd like to put that upon you, sir.
Do I feel like some dark shade or something?
No, he just he actually does
simple.
seem to just really
intense.
care, and he's worried about her safety.
Aww.
Don't forget, this is a woman who brings dead bodies back to do autopsy and works closely with the police, and
I have
just
a
has
pilot's license.
and oh god, has a pilot's license.
Oh my god, that's right too.
Yes, he doesn't
And
want
she
her.
drives.
Yeah.
I will, as heartwarmingly as possible, because he seems pretty genuine. I put my arm on his I guess shoulder, and like, you've got my word. I will do everything in my power to make sure that all of them are safe.
Yes. And strangely, he puts out his hand to shake your hand.
Aww.
I will shake his hand.
The pact is sealed. No, he doesn't. Here is your Xbox. No, he doesn't. He
But if
doesn't. He
Montgomery
does-
shows
but he
up,
sort
all
of shakes
cards
your
are off the
hand,
table.
and you can see, like, you know, whatever issues or attitude he's had is gone. It's we are both gentlemen. Hurrah! and then he just turns and he just moves back.
I kind of feel bad that I wanted to mess up his room in the
Yeah.
other
Aren't you
episode.
glad?
It's like you knew.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you didn't?
He's my
Yeah,
very
it's
own
fine.
Alfred,
Yeah,
okay?
it's fine.
Oh,
He's Alfred.
he's something.
I
And then
had
to the
Batmobile,
car.
Did I tell you? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And you all head
Hey,
to the
Amos,
car.
it's time to go.
Holy heavens.
Keith does, who's buffing, says, "Ma'am, would you like me to drive, or would you like to take care of that yourself, ma'am?"
I think I would like to drive. I haven't done it for a little while. However, if you would like, you can sit in the front passenger seat.
Oh, he's coming with us?
You can if he wants to.
I thought he had.
Well, originally he was going to drive us.
Are you sure that's wise? You know, the episode this morning? No? Ringing any bells?
I was thinking that someone, if we really needed the car started really quickly with the doors open.
Oh, that's fair, actually.
Well, but ma'am, of course I can come with you if you would like.
Just to watch the car.
Yes. And then he just stares at Agatha, Marion, and he was like, "Shotgun."
Was that a thing in the 30s?
Thank you for listening to this Twisted Gear Studios production. Our next episode of The Call will air Tuesday, June 18th. Tuesday, May 11th, in the meantime, is the next episode of Spacers, our Starfinder actual playcast. The game system used today was the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition by Chaosium. Music in this episode was licensed by Video Copilot. Sound effects and ambient tracks licensed through Triune Films, Video Copilot, and Sirenscape. You can find all of Twisted Gear Studios' podcasts on YouTube, Google Play, Apple Music, and Spotify. Please follow and like Twisted Gear Studios on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Twisted Gear. Your players this evening were Janessa Coles, Lindsay Delansky, Zach Barrett, and Elizabeth Wells. Your audio operator tonight was Rob Hickey, and your GM, or keeper, this evening was Derek Snow. If you happen to be in the Fort McMurray area, you can find me at Tavern on Main every Monday at 7:30 p.m. for trivia. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you next time.